we're trying to be as best we can be with the time. So please stay on point. 1 minute. We're going to start off in alphabetical order, and I believe that starts with Ms. Cobra.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Thanks all for being here. Commissioner Reyes, former Commissioner Zapata, who's also here. I wanted to greet you all. My name is Sabina Como. I'm a former investigative news reporter. I've worked for the media, print, radio, and TV for the past 22 years. I am a former spokesperson for the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services and own 2 medium businesses that operate here in District 2. I've been a resident of District 2 for the past 22 years, 13 in Brickell. I then moved with my family and my 3 children to Coconut Grove. I am ready to serve you, and I am very thankful to be able to address this audience tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Kogo, like you did, if you don't need a minute, you can wrap it up in less than a minute. That's even better for everyone. So don't feel like you have to stretch out for the minute. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next is Goggins.
Good evening. My name is Mike Goggins. When I first made the decision to run for office, never did it before. I've worked in corporate America for a number of years. I've run very large international corporations. I've been the CEO of a public company, and I worked for Merrill Lynch, and I've done a lot of things, MBA in finance and what have you. Big question my family asked me is, why in the heck would you want to do something like this? The only answer I could come up with is just, I have questions. I just wanted to have some input. I live in Brickell. I walk the dog. I'm here. We experience the traffic. I see the sunny day flooding. I just wanted to see what's going on, and maybe I can offer some of my experiences and my skills, my education to improve things a little bit. I don't come here with complaints, and everybody's corrupt and there's issues. I'm just saying I think I could bring a lot to the table, and I really mean that. Really, I'm wrapping up. I mean, it'll be very brief. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Goggins. Next will be Javier Fernandez. I'm sorry, Gonzalez. Sorry, Mr. Gonzalez.
Good evening. My name is Javier Gonzalez, and some of you know me. I ran in 2015 and 2019 for this district. And I think one of the critical elements for a commissioner and somebody that's going to represent you is that they are from here, that they understand where we came from and what we are. And I think that's really, really important from a business background, from the background of being in the neighborhoods and already dealing with a lot of issues because of past experience. I've been doing this for 15, almost 20 years in our community, in my community in particular, Coconut Grove. And I think that's one of the critical elements, the experience, the fact that we already know and have been dealing with a lot of folks within the city. And I think that is critical, that you're going to hit the ground running. You know you're going to be able to work through issues. You know you're going to be able to work with the rest of the commissioners and not have any kind of ties. I'm a local kid. Been here since 1965, and this is my town. I fell in love with it back then, and I just want to give back to it. So,
thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Next will be Leor Halaby.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Leor Halaby. Well, after the military, 3 years in the Israeli military, I moved here 9 years ago from Israel, and I opened the first H&M in Israel, the first store. So I'm bringing 7 years of management. Then I worked in politics a few years. I opened a gay lobby there against homophobia, managed political power. I did 6 political campaigns in Israel, as you know, but this is my first time I'm doing political campaign in the US. I moved here 9 years ago. I started from zero. I did my green card, my citizenship, 2 businesses, nonprofit, everything myself, including this campaign. I'm doing marketing, so I'm also one of the best in marketing in Florida, so specialize in digital marketing. For me, it's all about giving a platform for unrepresented communities to bring innovation, to bring in job growth to Miami. I'm a resident of Edgewater, so I'm also the Norfolk candidate. For me, it's also to give the voice for you guys to represent and choose please leaders.
Thank you, Mr. Halaby. Next, Mr. Eddie Leon.
Good evening. My name is Eddie Leon. I live in Brickell. I work in Brickell. My family lives in Brickell. I've been here for the last 12 years. I'm an attorney. I graduated from Duke University. I've been practicing law in South Florida since that time. I have worked at multiple law firms. In the last 4 years, I've worked at City Hall. I've been the mayor's independent general counsel. I'm the only candidate that knows exactly what City Hall is about. It's about being prepared. It's about knowing your commissioners and being able to horse rate in order to actually represent Brickell. I am your Brickell person because I've been here for 12 years. What I bring to the table is not only my expertise, but 3 quick things. We need true representation, true accountability, and true historic protection. I look forward to talking to you, and I look forward to hearing your concerns, but I know that Brickell is a lived here for.
Thank you, Mr. Leo.
Thank you.
Next is Max Martinez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Max Martinez. I was born and raised in District 2, and I am fighting for this seat because I believe that this city needs someone who acts with urgency. We are facing problems that no other city in the United States is facing, and someone needs to champion and push all these issues to the forefront of the conversation. I ran for mayor in 2021. I finished runner-up with 11%. And I have a degree in government from Cornell. When it comes to this job, I believe the sky's the limit and no one's touched it yet. And I plan on being the one to touch it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Next is Lorenzo Palomares.
It's not here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Kathy Parks Suarez.
Even better. Thank you.
Lorenzo. Anyway, I signed up for an appointment because I didn't recognize anybody on the list, and I felt that I was the most, City Hall is my second home. And I really feel that we do need somebody that's gonna hit the ground running. And the attacks of the other commissioners is not helpful to garner any votes for any of us that live in District 2, whether it's Brickell, Coconut Grove, downtown, Morningside. So all of the accusations of corruption and whatnot that's going on at City Hall is not going to benefit any of us as voters, residents, or anybody on the dais. Commissioner Reyes is a champion beyond words. And to attack everyone is just not going to work. We will get no votes. So please think what.
Thank you, Ms. Parks. Next is June Savage.
Hello, everyone. I was born and raised here in the city of Miami. I am a real estate agent with One Sotheby's for over 22 years. I have also international business experience in Europe and Asia. I'm an avid cyclist. I've worked with FDOT, the Bicycle Advocacy Program, and I know pretty much where everything floods here in the city of Miami. I have proactive ways, conservative ways. There will be no funny spending should I be elected. I have no special interest. I have negotiation experience that I can bring to the city and negotiate with all the other commissioners. I've been preparing for this for more than 2 years, and I have cleared my plate to now serve the city of Miami. Y yo hablo español también, soy americana, pero para mi gente que habla español, gracias por venir.
Thank you. Next is Christy Tasker.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christy Tasker, and I moved to Brickell almost 5 years ago and couldn't believe the amount of flooding that we had, and this had been going on for years. You may have seen me on NBC News regarding the aquifer breach with the UNA project. A lot of people recognize me for that. And I probably have more emails to Ken Russell with solutions than anyone else. I will be championing the fact that we actually need our ditches and everything cleaned out, our drain system, our pump system, along with actually holding developers accountable for any of the infrastructure portions of their bill that are now being unfulfilled, and the money, following the money to find out where it's going in the terms of a forensic audit. We have everything from FTX to Bitcoin, and that's not really on our budget where we can actually see where our monies are actually going.
Thank you, Ms. Tasker. Next is James Torrance.
Good evening, everyone. My name is James Torres, president of the DNA, the Downtown Neighbors Alliance, literally across the river. I'm the only candidate here this evening that's consensus builder and issues driven. My record speaks for itself. Most of you I've dealt with when it comes to the homeless issue, the scooter issue, the noise pollution, and the traffic pollution. That's what I call it. I intend to take office and address these issues front and center. I'm not attached to the special interests, and I'm not part of the quote unquote status quo. I kindly ask you to look today and decide what we need. What we need is independent thinking. Someone that really can roll up their sleeves at City Hall and go against the bullies that we have there today. That's my opening statement as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Torrance. Next is Mario Vuksanovic.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much. My name is Mario Vuksanovic. I grew up here. I've been here over 30 years, living at 1408 Brickell Bay Drive. I was motivated to sign up to be Commissioner of District 2 because I've been working for many years helping the homeless for the city of Miami, the outreach program. And I feel there's so much we need to do. The homeless situation is increasing. There's a lot more homeless now. And not enough is being done. We need more shelters. We need more affordable housing. There are lots of empty buildings that we could convert quickly. That would be solutions. You probably have dealt with a lot of homeless people here. And a lot of them are good, people, we could turn them around and put them into jobs where they could be contributing to the economy. Also, I'm concerned about the traffic congestion. Some people have said, it might not be a bad idea to build a tunnel between here and downtown Miami. If you want it, we can do it together. And also sewer system instead of the situation we have now with septic tanks. That would preserve our bay from contaminated.
Thank you, Mr. Vuksanovic. Next is Judge Martin Silver.
Thank you, everybody. Martin Zilber, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for hosting us. I feel your pain, by the way. I'm also getting beaten up on social media all the time, so I understand it. It's okay. And it's part of the job when you get involved in public service. I've been in this community my entire life, born and raised in Miami, been living in Coconut Grove for over 35 years, been married for 30 years, raised my 2 children in Coconut Grove. So I'm a part of this community. I'll say 2 things that I'll constantly repeat: experience and consensus. I have the experience to do this job from day one, and I have the consensus to work with our current commission, our mayor, and many others in the community that have endorsed me to get work done day one. We're going to start in March. We're going to be back up in November. I can promise you that I'm going to have the ability to work with others to be able to get things done for our community. 2 of the bigger issues that I've been talking about and I'm involved in, but there's many others, is more police on our street. I was happy to be endorsed by the police and many other unions, and we have the same amount of officers on the street today as we did 10 years ago, with almost double the population. So it starts with policing, both for safety,
Thank you, Judge Silver.
homelessness, and many other things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, candidates. Wonderful opening statements. I'm going to pass the mic over to Abby Ape for the candidate questioning session.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abby Ape. I'm the Managing Director of the Brickell Homeowners Association. It's good to see you all here today. We're going to get started. We have a few questions, which is going to be followed by the lightning round. So let's get started. All right, candidates. What do you think is the corner store issue challenge in the Brickell area, and how do you plan to address it should you become our commissioner? Nope. You gotta make that walk.
If you win, sure.
Well, next time.
Thank you, Judge.
I didn't know which way you
We'll do it next time.
I think that, to your question, it was Brickell, right? So
Yes.
that's, I think that where we're going, right now, what is happening in Brickell has a lot to do with security. I've heard and I've been seeing a lot of news, and I live in Coconut Grove, but I was a resident of Brickell for 13 years, and security has become an issue. And not only the type of crime that I covered as a reporter for a long time, which was catastrophic, but also the type of crime that just happens on your street or just with your neighbor. That would be one. Second, I think that we're going through a huge flood problem that I think that when I become commissioner, it could be solved with a beautifying team. Beautifying the resiliency team that could come out and could actually monitor our drainage system, not wait for the disaster to happen, but actually to be monitoring so our public works department can go in at the right moment. I think that would be key. Third, I think that in the past years, you felt as a neighborhood left out from the representation in commission. Why not, as a commissioner, bring you mobile offices so you can come in and you can speak to me? I want to be your voice.
Thank you. Good question.
As I mentioned early on, being a resident here, I walk the streets daily, walking the dog, and again, I have questions. The quality of life is my primary concern. One thing that's always caught my attention is the daytime flooding. We've all seen that out of nowhere. Sky's blue, not a cloud in the sky, and you see a manhole cover bubbling up. That kind of raises an eyebrow. What's going on here? I'm kind of a talkative guy. My wife says you talk too much, but I grabbed one of the workers that was working on one of the storm drains and I said, "What's going on here? This is kind of concerning." And I got a good story, and this is boots on the ground. The guy said, "Well, our catch basins are only cleaned about every 5 years." And then I had to research what a catch basin is. Well, apparently that's sort of the retention area below the storm drain. It's full of debris, single-use plastic, lawn clippings, garbage. Mario can attest to this. A lot of the individuals that are homeless, they use those storm drains as a way to, they think it's a magical disposal. It goes away.
Thank you.
Yep, that would be my first priority.
I'm sorry, if you guys could introduce yourself.
Javier Gonzalez, not Fernandez, Gonzalez. So in 2019, I was asked the same question, and my answer was plumbing. And people looked at me like I was from another planet. And our biggest issue in Brickell, in Miami-Dade County, is plumbing. So I think one of the key elements that we have to do from the District 2 Commissioner is get the respect, work for the respect that we deserve in District 2. And without District 2, there is no Miami, period. So we need to have the infrastructure dollars on our side. We've got a grant coming in for $25 million, which is part of the Stormwater Master Plan. We should have the full $100 million because we are the main driver, economic driver of this whole city, period. And I think that's one of the critical elements. The other thing is, on your radar, start looking for your insurance because it's going to become an issue. There's laws coming in that are going to be changing for all the condo owners. And Ernesto and I have talked about this several times. Be aware of where your insurance is going to be very soon. We as a city have to be prepared for it because it is going to affect us.
Okay, Leo Halaby. The way I see it, it's there is a few issues that all come together. We have new residents moving in, especially in the last 2-3 years, and they're changing the environment here. Those residents plus the locals need solution of places that they can live, work, and play together. And this is where Brickell is. So the housing issue is a main issue here. People that are local and live here many years are throwing away, plus their insurance, the property security is going up. And in the other hand, we don't have solution for the new residents. We don't have public transportation here. The city services are kept the same. We said about the policing as well. So we need to give solution for the residents that live here many years, but plus the new residents that come here. People need to work and to be in this city and to stay in this city. Otherwise, we will just have random people, and that's a bad situation.
Thank you.
Brickell, here's the issue that we have, and in categories. We have infrastructure, we have quality of life, and we have historic. Historic, for those who do not know, recently the Herald broke that we have a historic sighting of magnitude. It's unbelievable that we found here on the mouth of the river something imaginable that for 12 months, the city has kept under wraps. Infrastructure. I can tell you the projects that we have currently on the books. Brickell Bay Drive seawall, a crosswalk, Brickell Avenue. I can tell about Mary Brickell and the infrastructure done, and Brickell Key, the improvement to the bridge. What I plan to do, I know everybody at OCI, or most everybody, including the interim director, Hector Badillas, which I plan to meet with, and Juvenal, our director of public works, to sit with them and give them, where are we moving forward? I know them, and that's what we need to do at Brickell.
Thank you.
Max Martinez. District 2 is the epicenter of the affordable housing crisis. We feel the worst effects of the climate crisis, and we can't even drive through Brickell most of the time. What that is all about is poor infrastructure. originally built on poor infrastructure. It's now been overdeveloped, and we need to do absolutely everything that we can to coordinate it with the climate resiliency works team in terms of modernizing our structure and also to minimizing car use and public transportation. There's a lot of things that we need to improve on, but the truth is we need to be very proactive about it and urgent about it. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Okay, what do you think is the main cornerstone issue or challenge here in the Brickell area, and how do you plan to address it should you become our next commissioner?
The crime. Brickell has the highest rate of crime in the city right now. The crime is up 48% in Brickell. They're breaking into buildings with security and key fobs. So we need to do something about our policing. I don't blame the police officers that are here, but I think we do have a shortage of police. And I think one of the biggest problems we have in Brickell is we do have flooding, but if we're not safe, we have nothing. And that's really the bottom line here.
Thank you.
Hi. So for many years, I've been speaking to the police that are boots on the ground. And yes, we do have a police deficit. And we also have a lot of police that are turning in their retirement papers early because they're being mismanaged. So a lot of our police officers are being sent to do, for example, DUI checkpoints at Flagami, which do not benefit District 2. I purposely parked at Trulux and walked over here, and there was not one foot soldier, not one police officer the entire time I went to Citibank, across and back. So for those of you that have been to New York, we, on a slow scale, are turning into New York. We need to have what I call foot soldiers on the ground, police on foot to protect us. Also, traffic mitigation. How many of you have been to New York and there's specific areas where you can be dropped off and picked up? Here in Miami, Uber owns the roads. They stop everywhere and they actually back up our traffic. They can stop in the middle of the road or it doesn't matter. So we have three things.
Thank you.
Okay. I could talk all night.
So ladies and gentlemen, we have an infrastructure issue because of the development. The developers are not paying either their infrastructure portion or they're not actually fulfilling them because we do not have the proper staff to manage what is already in the infrastructure bill. So for instance, if they take down X amount of trees, there's no one to confirm that X number of trees go back up. There's no one to confirm that we actually have the ladders to actually fight a fire in our buildings. This is a very serious thing. We don't have enough firefighters. We do not have enough police force, which is all a part of the infrastructure bills that developers are actually paying for. But yet, where is the money going? Again, we need a budget audit because this is all part of the storm drains not being cleaned. There's actually no schedule for the storm drains being cleaned. There's no schedule for the street sweepers. And where is the schedule for our rubbish cans to actually be picked up? Because much of that is actually blowing into the bay and creating the problems that we're all dealing with, which comes to the businesses and
James Torres. One of the things I would look at is the infrastructure in terms of the traffic smart light system. I know the county is working on that, so it's going to require the county and the city to work together on that. The other thing that I'm not seeing is the bike patrol. That should be a regular scenario. It should not be once in a while when they schedule things. That is key to deter security in terms of what needs to be done. The other thing that I would definitely look at is looking at the flooding. We all know that's key impact downtown and this side of the river. The infrastructure, we should hold accountable the developers, and we're not. If they get the permits today, they should be held accountable for that corner. And that's what needs to happen instead of waiting for Department of Waterworks and all these other departments to kind of say, hey, we'll get to it later. It doesn't work that way. We should hold them accountable from the get-go. The fire station at Brickell City Center that just recently got approved, that was a disaster waiting to happen because they should have did that from day one.
Thank you.
Mario Vixanovic, have a dream. Dream with me, if you will. Picture our downtown in this whole area where there are less and less homeless because their lives have been turned around. Now they're earning a paycheck and they're calling their own shots and they're turned around and reintegrated in our society. I've seen some people with doctor's degrees under the bridges, washing dishes in Little Havana just to survive. Why not do something for them? Put a doctor in a hospital where they're saving lives, contributing to our economy. I have a dream that if there was a tunnel from here to downtown, they did it in Port of Miami, why not do it here? Also, why don't we build bike lanes and scooter lanes so that you're safe? But it's an incentive so that you could leave your car at home and you get on a scooter or a bike and you're not on the sidewalks interrupting the people there. Why don't we do that? Let's dream big together. We can do it.
Thank you.
So you hear a lot of commonalities here. I'm glad to see that I think all, if not most of us, agreed with the idea of funding more police. We've talked about infrastructure. You know, unfortunately, traffic and more schools, which is something that's needed here, is really not a city of Miami issue. So when I get asked the question, I try and explain that many times. It's not always what people hear. However, we do have a lot of influence as a sitting city commissioner to work with our school board, to work with our county commission, to work with our state government. I have the experience and the relationships to do just that. So take a look at who is the experience to work on these quality of life issues from the first day they get into office, and who's had the experience working on these issues for over 30 years in our community. Because we have to increase our park space here. We have to make sure that we fund our parks that are here already to be up to the standard they should, and to get more park space in the city. But it's the quality of life issues, again, that we repeat. It's getting more police. It's dealing with our parks. It's dealing with our traffic and our schools. So I hope that you'll help me get there so that I can help you. Thank you.
To stay with the mic. This next question says, if elected, how would you approach some voters' perception that elected officials are increasingly influenced by lobbyists and special interest groups with some agendas that may not be in the best interest of the community? What do you suggest to increase accountability and transparency?
Well, so the easiest thing to increase accountability and transparency of what you do is all your voices. When you're not happy, you vote us in or you vote us out of office. Now, one of the things that's been told to me constantly, is it going to be a problem that I've been endorsed by fellow members of the commission? Am I going to be an independent person? Is it a problem who you get fundraising from? Well, I can tell you again, I've been very, very fortunate to have been very successful in this community. I want to give back because the community has been good to me. I'm not beholden to anyone, but I can work with people. And that's the other thing. You must work together as a coalition. One voice, one vote is not going to get anything done for anybody in this room. The ability to work with two others, hopefully 3 or 4 others, will get a lot done for everybody. So again, it's transparency. I think you need to look at who everybody is getting fundraising from, who everybody is supported by, which lobbyists are doing whatever it is that they're doing for. And by the way, development and lobbying by itself in my name is not a bad thing. We just have to make sure we regulate it properly. Thank you.
Hi, I wanted to just touch on a few things here. I would make myself available to you 24/7. You would have my cell phone number. In fact, it's 305-803-8259. You can call me and talk to me now if you have any questions. But as commissioner, I would definitely be there. I would have town hall meetings so that all of you can get together and experts when we have serious issues. Climate change, that's a serious issue. You hear all kinds of things. I would get an expert like Dr. Rachel Silverstein, if you know of Waterkeeper, or you can look her up. She's an advocate for clean water and cleaning up our bay. So why not have a lot of town hall meetings and address these issues head on? Talk to the experts so we all know, so when we make a decision, we make it unanimously because I work for you. And therefore, I think that that's the change that I believe could be a better solution. I work for you and you can talk to me.
Thank you.
That's an interesting question because the Miami Herald called me when I started my campaign and said, hey, are you working with a PAC? What is it? What's going on? First thing I would do is prohibit anyone that works for a developer to give you to the PAC. I would also prohibit anybody that's tied into those not to give to a PAC. That's very important because that's influencing what he or she's going to be doing. I would definitely be the first one raising my hand and saying, it's not going to happen on my watch. The other thing that I would look at as well is I would create transparency throughout the district. Net offices were X'd because of the budgets or whatever the city decided to do. I would bring back net offices to a certain degree, more of a outreach program. As president of DNA, I've done a lot of town halls and I listen to the constituents. When they want something done on the scooter program, on the homeless issue, the DNA tackled those issues front and center and went to City Hall and created the whole noise ordinance that we got rid of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my approach is a little bit different, in terms of, I have not taken any PAC money, and I would actually ban PAC money altogether, PAC and union money, because many times that's not to the benefit of the community as a whole, and really it's not even a benefit to our officers, our fire, our police, because their unions are then forced to back someone, and then they may not agree. Fortunately, they will turn out in the voter booth themselves. So I would definitely look, if I were a voter, I would look and see who's actually taking PAC money and ask each of us as candidates who's behind us as special interests, because there are a lot of people that do take money from developers. So here in Brickell, that's going to affect us massively, because they're going to come in and they're not going to fulfill those infrastructure bill portions that I'm talking about. So we do have to take a look at that. And as far as approach goes, I have no problem working with anyone. However, when it comes to things such as
Okay, so we're all talking about tax, but little do you all know, there is no background check and no fingerprinting for any of one of us up here. Miami Beach does background and fingerprinting. You cannot get your name on the ballot unless you've been fingerprinted at the police department, had a background check before you're approved to be on the ballot. Now, as far as transparency, I learned from Xavier Suarez. I go way back. He and I did town hall meetings with FDOT because there's been a lot of deaths on the entrance to Key Biscayne. I'm a cyclist. I've been on the bicycle advocacy committee. So what I would like to do is what Maddie Bauer does. She does a Tuesday morning breakfast club. So I would do Magic Mondays with June, and it's the same type of an open a town hall meeting, whether it's a breakfast club or not, but that's where you all voice your opinions. We go over the budget and we have open discussions. It's done every Tuesday in Miami Beach, and I'm not breaking the mold. There's no reason why we shouldn't do it here. Thank you.
I'm the only person that is not making any money in Miami. My money, my income comes as far away as Tampa and Orlando. I'm not beholden to anybody. I have refused to take money from anyone. I have refused to take money from lobbyists and other people who have given to other candidates. I want nothing to do, I want no commingling. And with me, it's always going to be honest, open, and transparency. Some people may not like the acronym HOT, but it's always going to be HOT with me. If you don't like it, you can lump it. I don't like it. I don't like the lies. I don't like what Ken has done. I helped Ken get elected in 2015, and he made me and my entire family look foolish. And I will never let that happen again on my watch. Thank you.
Max Martinez. I think the number one thing that every voter needs to think about is, what is everyone up here's motive? What are they truly trying to accomplish, and how are they going about accomplishing it? Me personally, I've gotten over 30 contributions for almost $7,000, no special interest, no PACs, and you still see me knocking on doors, hit flyers out, because I really want to make this job the best it can be. I want to be able to try and solve every single problem. I want to do it ethically. And the only way that you can quote unquote expose or fight corruption is by doing things ethically the right way and, you know, making a name for yourself. Thank you.
What you really need is three things in this community. You need transparency, you need true representation, and true protection of our historic gems. I am not receiving money from lobbyists, high-power attorneys, or special interests. I am someone that did not sought appointment, and when there was an opportunity to actually knock on doors and meet all of you individually or through friends, I know that you need someone that is capable, competent, and is willing to fight for us. For many years, District Commissioner Clinton Russell abandoned Brickell. I know because I struggled with that while I was at City Hall. You need someone that knows the system, that is capable of using the system, and is a young face. It's not a recycled person that you've seen here. You hear experience. What have they done for hundreds of years?
Thank you.
Okay, so that's my first political campaign in the US. In Israel, I did already 6 political campaigns. That's what I see here. And when I did the research, I already registered, beside of John here, registered for November election from July. So I already saw in the past campaigns, people donating $1,000, $1,500, and suddenly I'm getting $18.25. So it's definitely special interest group that donating to everyone here. I'm self-funded. The second thing that I'm gonna do is digitalize platform for younger generation and for everyone to have accessible needs to approach us. Because 1% and maybe less here in the US are actually involved in politics. So you need to have a better solution to be accessible and to reach us and to give the response back. It's all about education, especially for young generation to come and vote, because eventually whoever gonna vote here is maybe 2,000, 3,000 people that's gonna affect the millions of lives of people.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, here you go.
Implementing how would you increase transparency?
So, I think I hit a nerve a little early, but, let's go back to, transparency and what we have in the government. I think one of the things is you have to be a doer, and some of the things that I've been working prior to even being your commissioner is, mentioning historic. When the historic comment came up, I made sure that I called the city attorney, called the city manager, to make sure that we put a pause on that project, to make sure that we have the ability to have a District 2 commissioner before anything goes down on that historic property. But with transparency, I've already been working with the budget department to make sure that we go into a more transparent mode. These are things that are already in the works. So I've been doing that, even not being the commissioner, but being interested in knowing that I have to run this district. So I think all of those things are critical. If you've seen my campaign report, you know I ain't getting no money from nobody. It's not that free. But we're knocking on doors. I've knocked on over 800 doors, me personally, not volunteers, me personally knocking on those doors. So I interact with the community. Thank you.
I've been a fiduciary for over 30 years, talking about background checks. I'm a principal in an SEC and a FINRA member firm, so believe me, they know me. OFAC, FinCEN, they know who I am. Until about 30 minutes ago, I had no idea what this job pays. And my point being, I'm not pursuing the job. What I'm trying to do is to pursue what the job entitles me to offer to us. Again, I started the quest with questions. I'm just trying to find out, how I can influence, bring my skills and abilities to all of us. So that being said, I say no pretty quick and pretty easy. I'm a clear outsider. I'm self-funding. I don't think there's anything anybody could offer me that would deter me from my mission, and that is to make it better for all of us.
So the first thing that our city of Miami is lacking, and not only is in District 2, is in every part of our district, is decency and respect. I don't know if you've noticed how the commission meetings happen and how they make fun of the people who come and talk. The first thing that I would do as your commissioner would be to create a District 2 Commission of Ethics, and not with the people that I know and not with my connections as a reporter, but with people from every neighborhood in our district. People that could be prepared to audit what we're doing with our budget, because the budget is actually there to improve the quality of life. All the donations to the campaigns, they're all public. I invite you to go through them and then see how your commissioner votes. That's the best way to see if your commissioner can get reelected or not. We have 9 months to deliver, and that's why I'm the best person to be your commissioner. I can assure you.
Let's go ahead and hold on to the mic. Here is our next question. If elected, what plan of action would you take to address Miami's environmental challenges?
If elected or environmental challenges are very extensive, there should be two types of planning. The one that we can actually take into consideration right now, which has a lot to do with actually getting teams out to inspect our storm drain system. That's a reality and it's an issue that is actually causing the flooding. And that's why we always go into an emergency, because we don't have enough employees with boots on the ground to actually take care of the system. The second item that we need to take into consideration would be actually see if our long-term plans are actually going to happen and in the correct way. Because we have a lot of studies that have been piling and piling and piling up, but nothing happens differently because we grew and our urban planning was not right. Take into consideration 3 points. Urban planning leads to the right climate change mitigation and to the right affordable housing. If we can create affordable houses in different areas of the city, that can also be a solution to climate change and resiliency.
As we know, we're blessed to have Biscayne Bay right here within eyesight, and Biscayne Bay it contributes to about $2 billion to our economy. People come here to enjoy the bay. I do boating and everything else. But as far as environmental, I think that one of the first steps I would take would be to increase in funding for street cleaning, the storm drain caps. I see fertilizer runoff. I see landscaping runoff. I see single-use plastic, those little doggy bags that we all love and use. Maybe there's some alternatives to that. I think that we've got a lot of issues that are getting into the environment. We've got some habitat issues here. I think we just need to take a look at what's going on, what's going into this bay. That's what's important. And I see it every day.
It's a 9-month job. So what can we accomplish within 9 months when we talk about environmental question? So what we need to do is, I think we can concentrate on one item. The budget is coming up in September. So we have to budget our resiliency department. We have to make sure that when those budget meetings go down, we are providing the funds needed to make sure that we can do, as Mike said, clean these drains, make sure that we can fund our stormwater plan. And again, this has already been funded. We've already got $1 million. It's 25 for each district. And I think that's critical, but on the budget item, again, it's 9 months. You're very limited as to what you're going to be able to do. So let's work on funding for our storm cleanup and making sure that we keep our bay as clean as we can.
Well, environment is very popular during elections, but then coming after that and nobody's doing nothing. So it's mainly to support advocates, support them, to support organizations. Yesterday we had a forum, only 5 candidates came to the forum for Sierra Club. So I know it was Super Bowl, but it's important it's election because it's a statement to be supported. So I can tell you first, there will not be development in Virginia Key under my watch. There will be public spaces, greenery, there will be public transportation involved with greenery as well, more trees, beautify this city, to have more renewable parks, to let a little bit more green and not only development, but mainly to support advocate groups, to support organizations, to have more education about the environment, to involve the younger generation with that. There's many things we can do, but day after, we need already to start by educating the people about this environment and what we can do.
So I've been in the city for 4 years. I can tell you what the issue is. There is no oversight. There is no management. There is no focus. What I mean by that, you can pass all this budget, you can spend all this money, but nobody cares because you're not actually monitoring it. My job, day one, is to actually sit with all the key department directors that I already know and sit them on a weekly basis, just like I sit with my GC and my structural engineer on a weekly basis for the project that I'm doing in my building and say, where are we on Brickell Bay Drive Seawall? Where are we with the Brickell Key improvements? Where are we with our crosswalks? Where are we with the Mary Brickell improvements, which I've worked with the VHA in the past about this issue. So that's really the issue. Yes, we can talk here and sit about funding and more money. The key issue is oversight and care. The private commissioner took no care of that. That will change on day one. My job is to provide oversight. And if I have to put it, thank you.
Max Martinez. Where to start with the environment, from septic to sewer, spoil islands, and every other issue that we've discussed? And he's right, we do need better oversight of all that. But what all those issues really come down to is waste management oversight. We have so much waste that pollutes the bay that it has an effect that lasts throughout the entire district. That being said, what can you do in 9 months? Could you move to propose a charter amendment to block parks from real estate development? I believe it's possible, and I believe that that's the kind of stuff that could save Virginia Key and would have saved Melrose before the vote. Thank you.
I feel there's a parrot in the room. 9 months, environmental, it's a big issue. Our former commissioner was Mr. Climate Change. I refer to it as climax change that never happened. I think we need to worry about the septic tanks because we're all going to die of doo-doo poisoning if we get flooded. If we get an Ian or a Dorian, we're all going to die of doo-doo poisoning. They don't call it sepsis in the hospitals for no reason and septic tanks for no reason. And people need to be taught by their commissioners with town hall meetings and newsletters that they need to pump out their septic tanks because a lot of people don't know those simple things. But in 9 months, we're not going to tackle the environment. This is a short run. This is a punt. And I just don't even know what to say about some of this stuff. I agree with Javi and what he said.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll try and make it short. Raise your hand if you'd like the developers to have an environmental impact fee. Yes, because that will go directly to District 2. I will make sure that those fees come directly to District 2. So a lot of the problem is, for example, FEMA is giving us some money, and of course the other commissioners are going to try and pull District 2 money away from us. And that's what they're famous for doing. So an environmental impact fee on development is a very good option. Now, when it comes to our waterways, I have ecological ways. I already spoke to Daniel Kearns. He's got a barge. He knows where he can get the rocks. We can do a gradient incline. We can get it done faster than what the city proposes, which is a 7-year plan right now. We don't have 7 hurricanes to get this done. So I can get this done a lot faster, probably within a year. But again, we're running out of time. So environmental impact fees, homeless impact fees, and thank you again.
Christy Tasker. So when it comes to impact fees, one of the main things that I've already done is actually met with our waste management team. We have a severe issue with waste management as a whole, because not only do we not have a place for the garbage, but we don't have enough garbage trucks, ladies and gentlemen. And even if we did have more, they don't have a place to park them. And they're already trying to take the lot that they actually use to park them right now. So just imagine if we actually had double the amount of garbage trucks, double the amount of garbage men to actually pick up the garbage, and that would take care of our environmental right away. Secondly, culture. Our employees don't really want to work for us. They're working for people who don't care about them. They don't pay attention to what they're doing. They've never done ride-alongs. When I asked to do a ride-along with our fire and our police, they looked at me like I had 3 heads, and I was the first person to ever ask them. So ride-alongs are something that I've already started doing, and along with traffic control. Because environmentally, if we have people sitting in traffic, we can have all the electric cars that we want, but if we don't do anything about it.
So things that I would look at with the 9-month span that we have, and it's stated on my website, very clear, and it just needs to get drilled down a little bit better. Increase our city tree canopies and expand our park systems, open spaces, and greenways. Steeper penalties to developers for polluting, because they're not the ones who are being held accountable. You know, they kind of do their job and kind of leave, and now we're stuck with the bill. Looking at lead certified buildings between 2025 and 2030, there was an ordinance that commission passed. It was called the Building Link ordinance, where they held buildings accountable in terms of their usage on water, electricity, and things of that nature. Take steps to accelerate electric vehicles that were kind of behind. Everybody was on that kick for a while, and now everyone's not talking about it, but gas prices are still going up, so we need to look at those things together. The electrical changeover on all city-owned vehicles that we have, that would be a great start for our environment, and it would help us out.
I agree with my colleagues. Go green. That's the future. I believe in trees, and to be honest with you, I think that the potential here in this room of everyone coming together, we can move mountains. Here's an example. I was walking along Brickell between St. Jude's and the entrance of Key Biscayne some years ago. And they had the microscopic little signs on each tree that they were all going to be chopped down. Yeah, all that canopy was going to be, done away with, and they're going to replant these little fine trees, and then they put astroturf. It was a horrible idea. I got together with the people in the community. We signed, we protested, we got over 3,000 signatures, but we stopped, and that's why we still have those beautiful trees. I also believe that we have to get rid of septic tanks. Have to. That leaks and goes into our bay, and that's why you see the dead fish and the algae poisoning and all that. We need a sewer system, and we can do it together. We get together, we can move mountains. We'll do it. I believe it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, one of the disadvantages or advantages of going last, it's a lot of repetition. So there's a lot of things that my co-candidates have said that I agree with. I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't think we need more canopy, that doesn't think we need more parks, don't think we need more greenery. These are things that we need to do. We need to work with our existing parks. If you go on my website, if you've seen in the paper, I've written an op-ed on our parks, Regatta Park being specific, but others where, first let's start right at home. We have our own beautiful areas, and we're ruining our own areas with city function when we're having events, we're having other issues. So we have to go back. Part of it is management. Part of it is funding. It's true that we have a lot of development. Again, development can be smart and good development. Development that happens near our metro rail stations and some of our other areas where it helps with public transportation, getting people out of their cars is a good thing. The fees that we get, we have to make sure that we use them for resiliency, for affordable housing. So it's management of our budget, putting our money in our correct places.
Thank you, Mr. Silver. Okay, so now we are going to go into our lightning round section of the forum. It's going to be yes or no questions, and Mr. Romero is going to share this with you. And just keep in mind, guys, it's almost 8 o'clock, and so we want to get you guys home in a decent time. And we promise that once one of these gentlemen or ladies are elected, we will bring it back and ask them to be more specific. Any needs, yes, no.
Oh, you need, sorry. I got it, thank you. You got it? Okay, yeah.
Everyone have one? All right.
All right, so it's pretty basic. We have the green, white, and the red N for yes or no. And before we move forward, I want to thank Abby and Sam, because Sam quietly has been our voice and speaking truth to power for almost 40 years now. So it started when he was 10, which is good. And Abby has been carrying the association for at least a decade. So thank you so much, because it's pretty easy, and we all see, and we all text, and we all share information, and we tell them you need to do this, you need to do this. But walk a mile in their shoes and then come back, because it's pretty commendable.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so this is the fun part. How many condo and HOA board members we have here tonight? Raise your hands. That's good. That's a lot. How many of you had a board meeting in December? Good. That's okay. Almost all of you. And we know that your positions are volunteer. You don't collect any money for being board members of condo and HOA, correct? Perfect. Now, in December, 3 of the commissioners of the city of Miami, whose line item in the budget, city of Miami commissioners, it's $10.6 million for 89 positions. 3 commissioners decided to cancel the meeting in December. So your board meetings went through. Most of us did work in December, but not the city of Miami commission. Okay? So yes or no?
hypothetically, will you have supported the cancellation of the December 2022 commission meeting that 3 of the current sitting commissioners voted for? Good, can you capture this in a photo? Thank you. Perfect.
Did they return the money?
No, they didn't. But anyway, and again, he already left, but Commissioner Manolo Reyes was the only one that really saved the decency of that meeting. Anyway, question number 2. I'm worried because some of you say I only have 9 months. We have another election in November. Okay, so do you plan to run in November if you get elected? Who said no? No? Just 9 months? Okay, all right. That's interesting. Thank you. Good. Finally, yes or no, will you support a charter amendment to add more commission seats to address the needs of our, oh, there you go. Okay, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So we got overwhelmingly yes. Perfect. Thank you so very much. So thank you again, guys. This is amazing. We are flattered that everybody stayed. We're about to finish. This is the last 10 minutes. This is very important. Please do vote. I was reminded to tell you that you need to register and vote. Okay, remember to vote on or before the February 27th, sorry. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. But you must vote at your designated poll. Okay, so anything else that we need to add with the voting? Early voting. Yes, perfect, early voting. Yes, 3 days before the election, correct? Perfect, so register to vote, and it's good that we. Perfect. Okay, City Hall, Stephen Picard, and for the early voting. And then on the day of the election, you vote in your polling place, yes. Okay, perfect. So, and before giving it to Ernesto, let me just say something. It's good that we all spoke about money because historically, it always gets my attention that elected officials invest sometimes hundreds of thousands, perhaps even $1 million in a position that pays only a fraction of that. So imagine how important the job is and the power that one has. So thank you so much, and we will close it with Ernesto and then with the candidates' closing statements.
Before we close, I just wanna, this is Ernesto Cuesta, he's our president. He's always been a man of honor, and so we're so thankful for his leadership. Thank you, Ernesto.
Thank you, Ernesto.
On behalf of our residents and the Brickell, I always say the entire District 2 residents, I would like for you guys to remember, February the 27th, go to the polls. Who were and who are those 2 commissioners, sitting commissioners that have disrespected all of us, calling us communists, calling us, demeaning us? When you vote, this third vote is extremely important to bring decency to the city of Miami. We are sick and tired. We have been demeaned by these 2 individuals that they do not represent the city of Miami. And then we're running for mayor. Remember those 2 names. We don't know those are 2 people. We need to vote smart, and we need to do it on February 27th, because we need that third vote of decency in the city of Miami. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ernesto.
Well, I would like to say that if that third vote actually goes to someone who is not the best person for the city of Miami is going to be completely controlled by a group of people with economic interests. It's very important that you go on February 27th, and it's a Monday. Why is it on a Monday? Okay, as per the charter, blah, 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 blah. We have a bunch of loopholes in City Hall right now. I invite you to look at our resumes, but to also look about who could be decent and who could actually be able to negotiate and bring transparency to the city of Miami. Is the knowledge, is the transparency, and is the future of our generations. We want to preserve our history, but we want to move forward into a bright future for our children. I am a mother of 3 children. I am extremely concerned of what is happening in our city, not only for our children, but also for our seniors. Take that into consideration. My name is Sabina Cobo. You can find me sabinacobo.miami, number 30, and I'm the first on the ballot. I'm the C. I'm always first when I
Thank you, Ms.
speak,
Cobo.
but thank you, I appreciate it.
I want to thank everyone very much for the opportunity. My name is Mike Goggins, and I said before, I'm easy to find and the only Irishman on the list, so. I am probably the most unlikely candidate, and I mean this wholeheartedly. You got 9 months. If you give me the job, I can assure you, you will be happy with the results, and I mean that with all my heart. I didn't need this. My family have always asked me, what in the heck are you doing? Let's give it a try, okay? And I can assure you, I won't run in November if you're not pleased, and I mean that. And my door will be open. And that comes from my corporate America experience. The open door policy is real. And I do answer the phone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
My name is Javier Gonzalez, and my experience in business, one of the things that we did was I've always been in the service industry. I've always been in the service business. And really, as your commissioner, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to service your needs and respond to your comments and to your questions. As I've been knocking on doors, people have asked me about trash. I've given them the information to where they can go, how we can accomplish things. But I think that's the key element, that we are here for service. This is not my next stepping stone. I could retire tomorrow and move away and be fine and dandy. But I think the critical element is I want to give back to a city that I love, that I've been here since 1965, that gave me the ability to be great. And I want to give back to you, my residents, the folks that support us. And I think that's critical. We're in the service business, not politics, but in the service business. My name is Javier Gonzalez. I hope for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, everyone, Leo Halabi. I'm asking for your support because we need leadership, okay? So not only I moved here 9 years ago and start from zero and start my businesses and a nonprofit and my citizenship and everything from scratch with no lawyer, no help of others. I'm also very innovative. I'm gonna bring tech, innovation to Miami, transparency, the voice of unrepresented communities. I'm an immigrant here. I know the struggles, I know the bureaucracy, I know what Miami is and what Miami, I work with organizations and businesses here to understand how Miami is hard, how it can trust people here, how it's very hard place to work, and are we gonna change that? Even in my education, even in my flyers, I'm adding the math. Everything is about educating the people, make it accessible, transparency, and eventually to stand up for your right and to listen to you guys. So vote for me, number 33, it's a good number, and good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Three things that we need here. We need true representation, true accountability, and true historic protection. With me, you get 2 for 1. If my wife is still here, she is an incredible asset that will help in my office to serve our residents. We have a beautiful 2-year-old daughter, and we have 1 baby boy on the way. I love this community. I've been here. You need someone that is skilled in the bureaucratic process. You hear, but I can tell you names, I can tell you cell phones of how it actually works. And you not only need that, but you also need an attorney that is able to handle the city attorney's office in a way that it benefits us, the residents. On February 27th, there's really no choice. It's Elial, fill that little bubble if you don't do it before. And I look forward to working with you and attending the BHA meeting. And any questions you have after this, I'm happy
Thank you,
to make
Mr.
myself
Allen.
available.
Thank you.
My name is Max Martinez, and you should vote for me because I am fearless and resourceful. As I mentioned, I ran for mayor in 2021, and as far as I'm concerned, Francis Suarez didn't want to debate me. So I have no problem ruffling anyone's feathers. When it comes to wanting this job, The reason I want it is the ability to create positive change. I see my hometown and my hometown's district under crisis, and someone needs to step up and be extremely urgent about all these issues that are so broad, but have to have initiative and guidance. My name is Max Martinez, number 35 on your ballot, number 1 in your hearts, and the person who never went over time last time. Thank you very much.
I like that.
I won't run in November. I know that's a negative to some people. However, you won't have to worry about me taking money, soliciting, donations, people coming in and knocking on my door that got me elected, gave me money. My second home is City Hall. I know everybody. And when I didn't recognize people's names, I looked them up on Google, and I actually printed out their pictures and went to City Hall when I didn't recognize them, thinking that I'm not the know-it-all. And when the people at the city didn't recognize them, I knew it was the right thing to do. So I'm only doing this to fill in until the right person comes along. Thank you.
Judith Savage, thank you all for coming this evening. I want to raise the bar for District 2. I've been negotiating contracts on a high level with attorneys, developers, other agents, buyers, sellers. So coming in to serve as a commissioner for District 2 is a higher form of service that I've been doing for 22 years. Those two guys up there, I know I can handle them. I've handled bigger guys in my lifetime. So it's not a problem for me. So quality of life is something that I will preserve for you. That's what I've been doing for 22 years as a real estate agent. So take faith in me. You will have an open door policy. We will go over the budget, just like I said on Magic Mondays. I will have those open forums. Again, my name is June Savage, and thank you for coming.
Christy Tasker, you can go to Christy Tasker for Miami.com and see that I am your only candidate actually holding against the government gangsters. We are dealing with gangsters, ladies and gentlemen, and they're all with the same people. So when I say this, they're all connected, and it's the same group of players who try to install candidates instead of giving you the opportunity to vote. I am more like Mr. Commissioner Reyes and Ernesto. I believe that we are dealing in a communist-like society, and that the same group of players keeps trying to stay in control, and those are the same people that control your 40 and 50-year certifications. They also control the development, they control the police force, and I will put limitations on the amount of political security that our police officers can actually do, because believe it or not, they're actually removed off the streets and keeping people like my neighbor Margie getting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, James Torres, and I'm the president of the DNA. When I took over the post for my predecessor, the very first thing that I said is, I'm the person that will look at the city without borders, and I've done that. Bridging the gap between everybody, reaching out to all our associations and saying, hey, what can we do to work together? How do we get there? I'm the candidate that is not attached to, quote unquote, the Ken Russell 2.0. I'm also not attached to the institution. I'm also have never violated the public's trust. I'm an independent candidate that works hard and rolls up his sleeves to get the actions done. I've been asking these questions constantly to the City Hall and addressing everything that needs to be done. I've been there front and center, not behind the scenes, not a side door, the front door of City Hall, and answering what needs to be answered. I'm a consensus builder and issues driven. Please, I ask you for your vote, because our district, especially this part of the district, needs a voice. Should not be about.
Thank you, Mrs. Earth.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mario Luxanovic. We are all God's children. I was raised in church in St. Teresa's school. And on the weekends, I saw how the missionaries would go as a little kid. How we would feed the homeless. We would see how many of them would turn their lives around. I would see them in church, and I would see them living productive lives. Years ago, I started with the city of Miami helping the homeless, and I became heartbroken because I saw how the homeless would stay homeless. They call, even now, if you call the hotline and you're on the street, you need help, they answer. They leave you waiting 40 to 60 days. How can that be? I want to fix that. So I start there, but I am a people person. I love everyone in this room. I believe that that's the way I was raised, and we have to look at it this way with love. We love our community, we love each other, and we want to see the right thing happen. It's right to help the weaker so that they can live the American dream. And we all have the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you again, all of you, for being here. Again, my name is Martin Zilber. I guess you can see as we go down the list, it's the opposite. So Z, and I'll be at the very end of the ballot if you remember to go down that far. And you can see there's a lot of choices here and a lot of differences and a lot of areas where we share the same desire to serve our community. I'll say it again, I have the experience and the consensus. I've had the largest and longest career and the most renowned of the public service arena. I've gotten the endorsements and the people supporting me because they know I'm ready to go day one. It's why the police unions, the fire unions, AFSCME union, the Miami Realtors, just about every group endorsement that you could go in front of a professional organization has endorsed me because, again, they know I'm ready to work from day one. It's not a bad thing that I have this experience. It's not a bad thing that I believe I can work with these commissioners, any other commissioners that get into office. It's because in all of my career, whether as a judge, public health trust, elected as a councilman in the Grove, I've worked with people to get the job.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you. All right. Before we go home, bring it home, sir. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you, candidates, for doing what you've done in this short amount of time, running this marathon. Thank you, residents, for coming out. I just wanted to end with this. There is a bet that's being waged right now by the powers that be about whether the people's voice is really that valuable. If any of you all watched the commission meeting to decide on having this special election, there were public comments made. Only 5 or 10% of them are going to show up. Does it really matter? We should just go ahead and appoint them. This is your government. We get the government that we deserve through our participation. Let's prove them wrong. We can't have a 10% show up. Not only do you need to go out and vote, but find 10 friends and neighbors that you take with you to the polls, that you have vote early. Let's show them with an above 20% rating that we want our city back. And we want what we can do. So please, get out and vote. Don't let them in the back. Thank you.
Thank you. You're the best.